The wind howled through the dead forest. Leaves, dark and sharp like glass, crunched beneath the human's boots. Jace moved slowly, every step echoing in the quiet night. The red twin moons hung above, casting long shadows across the broken land. He saw her before she spoke. The alien woman stood between twisted black trees. Her skin shimmered like violet stone under moonlight. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with fire, but sadness. Her long white hair moved with the cold wind. "You came alone," she said softly. "I always do," Jace replied. Her name was Saralyn. She was once a commander of the alien faction that had nearly wiped out humanity's colonies. Now, she was their last hope to stop something worse. A weapon so dangerous that even her kind feared it. "Will you follow me to the end?" she asked, her voice calm, unreadable. Jace looked at her for a long time. He had seen too much death to believe in easy answers. "No," he said. "I'll walk beside you, though I know you'll betray me." Saralyn did not smile, but something flickered in her eyes. Pain, maybe, or guilt. "Then we begin," she said, turning away. They moved through the trees in silence. Jace kept one hand near his plasma blade, the other on his belt scanner. He didn't trust her. Not yet. Maybe never. The land they walked through had once been a thriving alien city. Now, it was ruins. Walls crumbled, machines twisted, nature crawling over broken metal. In the distance, old towers blinked red, warning anyone to stay away. "What's the fastest way to the core chamber?" Jace asked. "There is no fast way," Saralyn answered. "Only the quiet way, the safe way." "Safe for who?" She didn't respond. Hours passed. They stopped by a dead stream. Jace knelt to scan the water, but it was dry, just ash and old bones. "Why are you helping us?" he asked suddenly. "You fought in the war. You killed humans." Saralyn didn't look at him. She sat down on a rock, her fingers tracing the symbol on her arm, a faded tattoo of her old rank. "I built something," she said. "Something that was never meant to be used, but now others have found it. I can't undo the past, but maybe I can stop the future." Jace stared at her. "So this is guilt?" "No," she said. "This is survival. If that weapon activates, neither your people nor mine will be left." He believed her. Maybe not fully, but enough to keep walking. As they crossed the cracked plains, a sound filled the air. Whispers. A low humming. Jace raised his scanner. Motion. 6 clicks out. Saralyn touched his shoulder. "Don't fire unless they fire first. I'm not here to make friends." "They are not friends. They are machines. Left behind after the fall. Kill one, and the rest wake up." They crouched in the dust, hiding behind a fallen transport ship. One of the machines passed by. Tall, insect-like, made of bone-colored metal. Its head turned, sensing something. Then it moved on. When the air grew quiet again, Saralyn stood. "You know," she said without looking back, "you're not the first human they sent." Jace raised a brow. "What happened to the others?" "They followed me." She turned her head slightly. "But they never walked beside me." That night they camped inside a broken hangar. Jace sat with his weapon close. Saralyn sat by the fire, watching the flames like they held memories. He stared at her for a while. "You don't sleep?" She shook her head. "Not when I'm close to home." "Afraid of dreams?" "No. Afraid of what I left behind." Jace looked at the stars through the broken roof. "I don't trust you," he said. "I know," she whispered. "And I think you'll betray me." "Maybe," she said. "But I never lied about the danger." He didn't argue. He was too tired for that. And deep down, part of him believed she wanted to stop the weapon, even if it killed her. He lay down beside the wall, eyes still open. "If you betray me," he muttered, "make it quick." Saralyn's voice was soft, almost like a lullaby. If I betray you, it will break me first. And in that strange silence, under broken stars and alien dust, the two, human and enemy, began their journey. A journey built on a fragile pact in the shadows, one step at a time. The morning light never touched this part of the world. Thick, greenish fog clung to the ground like a living thing. It twisted between ruins, old machines, and shattered statues that once stood for power. Now they looked like silent ghosts, watching every step. Jace walked with careful steps behind Saralyn. His scanner blinked red. Radiation, ancient tech signals, and something unknown. This path isn't on the maps, Jace said, narrowing his eyes. It was erased, Saralyn replied without stopping. We made sure of it. Why? Because only those who were never meant to return walk this way. Jace frowned. You're leading me down a death path? She paused, turned slightly, and her voice dropped. I'm leading you to the truth. If that kills you, blame the truth. They entered a narrow underground tunnel half covered in roots and wires. The air felt heavy, like something was pressing on Jace's chest. He kept his hand on his sidearm. Along the walls, strange carvings glowed faintly, symbols in alien language. He couldn't read them, but they pulsed in rhythm with Saralyn's steps. What are these markings? They remember, she said. This place remembers pain. The deeper they went, the colder it became. Not just in body, but in spirit. It felt like walking through a memory that didn't want to be remembered. They reached a circular chamber. At the center stood a single broken chair surrounded by old restraints and rusted needles. Jace stared at it. Torture room? No, Saralyn whispered. Testing chamber. This is where they found out who could survive the link with the core. Most didn't. Her fingers gently touched the back of the chair. My sister sat here once. Jace looked at her, surprised. You never mentioned a sister. I don't mention things I can't change. There was no sorrow in her voice, only stillness. As they moved forward again, the tunnel began to shift. The floor rippled just for a second. Jace blinked. What was that? Saralyn stopped. This area is unstable. The old tech beneath still reacts to strong minds. What kind of tech? Memory machines, they steal thoughts. If we stay too long, we'll lose parts of ourselves. Jace clenched his jaw. Then let's move faster. But it was already too late. A flash of white light swallowed the tunnel. Suddenly, Jace stood in a different place. It was his old battlefield, on Titan IV. Explosions, screams, blood on his hands. He wasn't alone. His squad was dying. He looked down and saw his own hands shaking. His fingers were younger. His voice cried out, "Fall back! Fall! Jace!" Saralyn's voice cut through the illusion. He blinked. They were back in the tunnel. His hand was against the wall, breathing fast, sweat pouring down his neck. That wasn't real, he muttered. It was your mind, Saralyn said. This place reflects what you hide. Jace looked at her. What does it show you? She didn't answer. They finally came to a sealed door made of black crystal. It had no handle, no screen, only a small slit in the center. We have to enter here, she said. Jace stepped closer. How do we open it? She looked at him, then took out a thin silver blade from her belt. Without a word, she sliced her palm and pressed the blood against the crystal. The door trembled, then opened slowly with a deep groan. You're connected to this system? Jace asked. I was one of its builders. And you still think I shouldn't be worried about betrayal? Saralyn looked tired. Worry if you want, but don't stop walking. Inside the chamber was a small shrine, filled with glowing data crystals. They hovered in the air like fireflies. In the center was a holographic image, a human and alien standing side by side, hands raised. Jace tilted his head. What is this? The First Alliance, Saralyn said. Before the war, before fear ruined everything. He studied the image closely. Why show me this? Because not everything that was broken stayed that way. Some things tried to heal. Jace lowered his voice. And what happened to them? She looked away. They were betrayed. As they turned to leave, the wall behind them cracked. A soft mechanical growl echoed from the broken stone. They found us, Saralyn said. Jace pulled out his weapon. How many? Enough to erase this memory forever. He smiled bitterly. Then let's give them something to remember. They stood side by side, alien and human, weapons drawn as the shadows moved, and still he walked beside her, even knowing she might betray him. The first attacker didn't make a sound. It dropped from the ceiling like a shadow. Thin limbs, metal joints, and a face that shimmered like a mirror, reflecting Jace's own face back at him. He didn't hesitate. He fired once. The plasma round tore through the machine's chest. More dropped from the darkness. 5, 10, 15. All of them wore Jace's face. Saralyn's blade danced like wind. Her movements were sharp and fast. Every strike was precise. She didn't use guns, she didn't need to. Jace backed against a wall, shooting quickly, but each machine that fell, another one took its place. Why do they look like me? He shouted. They scan your thoughts, Saralyn called back. They become what you fear most. Jace grit his teeth. I don't fear myself. One of the mirror-faced machines leaned close as it died. It whispered, You will. They fought, their way down a narrow corridor. Sparks lit the walls. Old screens blinked with corrupted messages. Test subject failed. Truth denied. Remember who you are. Finally, the last machine dropped. Jace breathed heavily, blood dripping from a cut on his forehead. He turned to Saralyn. They almost killed us. She nodded. That was the outer ring. There's more. She didn't answer. She simply walked forward. They entered a room filled with glass tanks. Jace stopped. Inside each tank floated people. No, not people. Copies. Exact copies of him. Of Saralyn. Of others, some human, some alien. All unmoving, sleeping, preserved. What is this? Jace whispered. The archive, Saralyn replied. They collected DNA from battlefield corpses, prisoners, scientists. They created backups. Why? In case one of us became useful again. Jace stared at his own face trapped in green liquid. You said you built this place. She touched one of the tanks, her own copy inside. I helped design the MindLink system. I didn't know. They would copy us too. Jace narrowed his eyes. Didn't know? Or didn't care? Her hand dropped. Ask me that again when I betray you. As they moved deeper into the archive, Jace saw something stranger. Images flashing across the walls. Recordings. Saralyn, younger, smiling, talking with a human man. Jace froze. You knew someone, he said. A human. Yes? Who was he? He was the first to walk beside me. He believed, even when his own kind didn't. What happened to him? She looked down. He asked the same question you did. Which one? If I'd betray him. Suddenly, a heavy blast shook the floor. The lights flickered. Red alarms lit the ceiling. A loud voice echoed through the chambers. Cold, robotic. Unauthorized mind patterns detected. Purge sequence beginning. Saralyn grabbed Jace's arm. We have to run. No. What's coming now? She pulled him into a maintenance shaft. The purifiers. Jace heard the scraping sound behind them. Mechanical. Wet. Hungry. Inside the narrow shaft, they crawled quickly. Jace's shoulders scraped against old cables. The temperature rose. What are the purifiers? He asked. Machines that destroy corrupted memory paths. That means us. Corrupted? We were never supposed to return here. Not in body, not in mind. The shaft opened into a hollow vertical shaft. A ladder led up into blackness. You first, Jace said, watching her. She climbed without question. As they reached the top, the purifiers arrived below. Snake-like machines with dozens of eyes and melting claws. They hissed, then retreated. For now, they emerged into a quiet hall. Dust floated like snow. Old banners of peace, torn and burned, hung from cracked walls. For the first time, Saralyn sat down. Not from exhaustion, but memory. "This is where we signed the peace accord," she said. "Me and the human I loved." Jace remained silent. He gave up everything. I gave up nothing. And when the war came again, I didn't stop it. I let him die. Jace sat beside her. "You betrayed him." She didn't deny it. "I told you," Jace said. "I'd walk beside you, even knowing." Her voice broke just a little. "Why?" "Because something worse is coming. And I'd rather walk beside someone who regrets the past than follow someone who never sees it." Far down the corridor, a new door waited. It pulsed softly. Blue light. No locks, the core chamber was near. Saralyn stood again, shoulders straight. "Next part of the path is one only the guilty may enter." Jace smirked. "Then we'll both get through." Side by side, they stepped forward. Not as allies, not as enemies, but as two broken weapons searching for a reason not to destroy again. The blue light pulsing from the core chamber door wasn't warm. It felt cold, like a heartbeat without blood. Jace stepped forward, but the door didn't move. Saralyn placed her hand against it. The surface rippled, reacting to her presence. The door began to whisper. Not words. Names. Thousands of names. Some were human. Some alien, some not of either kind. "What are those?" Jace asked. "Failures," she said. "All who tried to stop the core before us." "And failed?" "No," she said quietly. "They were erased. Even their names became code." The door opened slowly. Behind it stood a massive room, round, endless. The walls were smooth and black like obsidian glass. In the center floated a sphere the size of a tank, glowing with soft blue veins. It hummed, not loudly but deeply, like a voice inside your bones. Saralyn didn't move. Jace looked at her. "This is it?" She nodded. "The core, everything. It has seen, remembered, judged. It's stored in there." Jace walked closer. As he did, tiny strands of light reached out to him. Curious. "Is it alive?" "It's not alive," Saralyn whispered, "but it learns. It copies minds, merges them. That's how it decides who's worthy." "To do what?" "To reset the world." Jace's eyes narrowed. "This thing wants to choose who lives and dies." "It already has," she said. "It just hasn't acted yet." Jace looked around the chamber. There were no control panels, no buttons, only the floating core and silence. "So how do we shut it down?" Saralyn turned toward him. "I have to enter it." He took a step back. "Enter?" "The core accepts one mind at a time. It tests you. If you pass, you gain command. And if you fail?" She looked at him. "You disappear. Mind, body, memories, gone." Jace stared at her. "So, you walk in, maybe die, and leave this to me." "I wasn't going to tell you," she said. "But it listens. And now it knows." The core pulsed suddenly. Light beams shot toward them. Saralyn gasped and fell to one knee. The light wrapped around her arm. "Wait!" Jace shouted, pulling her away. The light didn't attack. It read her. Images flashed in the air. Her past, her betrayal, her lost love, her designs on this very chamber. Jace's fists clenched. "It's showing me your sins." Saralyn didn't deny it. "Because it wants you to judge me. And what if I do? Then I fail. Again." Suddenly, the core turned toward Jace. Light touched his chest. Now his memories played. Screams from war. His squad dying. Orders he didn't follow. The face of a child caught in the crossfire. His own face, cold, silent, broken. Saralyn saw it all. Why didn't you ever talk about that day? She asked. Because no one ever asked. The core pulled back. It floated still, watching both of them. Jace looked at it, then back at her. So what now? Saralyn stood. Her voice shook, but she didn't flinch. I enter it. If I die, promise me something. No. She blinked. No? I won't promise. Because you're not dying today. Without warning, he stepped forward and touched the core. Light exploded. A storm of images wrapped around them. Millions of thoughts, pasts, languages, lifetimes. The core spoke. Two souls, one path, one holds truth, one hides pain. Only one may continue. Jace shouted, "We walk together!" The core pulsed. Harder. Only one. Saralyn stepped back. She looked at Jace. This is my burden. No, he growled. It's ours. Suddenly, Jace turned his weapon on the core. Can this thing feel pain? No, Saralyn shouted. You'll kill us both. I'd rather destroy it than let it choose who lives. Before he could fire, the core released a shockwave. Jace and Saralyn collapsed. The chamber turned black, and in the dark, a voice whispered inside Jace's mind. You would burn the world just to keep your promise, and she would break herself just to earn it. Perhaps, together, you are enough. The lights returned. The core was dim now. Quiet. In its center, a crystal floated, small, glowing with both red and blue light. Saralyn stepped forward, trembling. It accepted us. Jace picked up the crystal. Then let's finish this. But, behind them the walls shifted. Something else was waking. Something the core had locked away. A voice. One Saralyn thought long dead echoed through the chamber. Sister, why did you leave me in the dark? Saralyn froze. The voice that echoed in the chamber. It was impossible. It came from the shadows behind the core, soft, familiar, and dead. Sister, why did you leave me in the dark? Jace pointed his weapon at the sound, moving in front of Saralyn. Who's there? But she didn't answer him. She took a slow step forward, whispering one name. Ilaria. The air grew colder. The light inside the core dimmed. From the far wall, something began to take shape. Not fully physical, not fully light. A glowing figure, half-formed, her features flickering like static. It was a young alien woman, her face so much like Saralyn's, but twisted with sadness, anger, and something else, something broken. Jace narrowed his eyes. That's your sister? She died, Saralyn said. Inside this core years ago. She linked with it, and it consumed her. No, the voice answered. You let it consume me. The ghostly figure floated forward. Her eyes were empty sockets of light. I begged you to stop the experiment. I told you the core had a voice. You said I was imagining it. And when it pulled me in, you walked away. Saralyn fell to her knees. I didn't know what it would do to you. You knew enough. You built the door and locked it behind me. Jace stepped in between them. What are you? A memory? The figure laughed. Cold. Hollow. I am what remains. The core used my mind as a filter, a voice, a guide. I became its jailer, its prisoner. Now you've unlocked the gate and I am free. The walls of the chamber began to crack. Jace looked at Saralyn. You told me the core copies minds. It does, she whispered. But some minds, it keeps. I felt your pain, Saralyn, the voice whispered. But I also felt your silence. You never came back, not once. Tears formed in Saralyn's eyes, but she didn't wipe them away. I was afraid, she said. Afraid I'd be swallowed too, but I never stopped trying to find a way back. Lies, the figure hissed. You didn't try. You replaced me. Jace stepped forward, holding the crystal from the core in his palm. This ended. The test. The core accepted us. Why are you still here? Because acceptance is not release, the voice said. You woke more than you understand. Suddenly, the figure split. One half remained soft and sorrowful. The other became darker, sharper. Pure rage. Saralyn gasped. It's splitting her. Her guilt and her hate. Jace pulled Saralyn to her feet. We need to get out of here, now. But the exit was... The walls were shifting. Reality itself was bending. They were now standing in what looked like a memory, a room from Saralyn's childhood, but twisted. Floating in the air were broken toys, shattered family photos, and a large mirror that showed nothing but darkness. One of you must stay, said the hateful half of the figure. The core demands a balance, pain for peace. One walks free, one remains behind. Saralyn whispered, I'll stay. Jace spun to her. No, we didn't come this far for that. She looked at him, voice shaking. Jace, I built this place. I left her. This is my past, my blood, my fault. Jace raised the crystal. Then let's rewrite it. Suddenly he crushed the crystal in his hand. Blinding light exploded outward. The chamber screamed. The figure shrieked as both her halves fought to hold together. Saralyn shouted, What did you do? I forced it to reset, Jace growled. It accepted both of us. That means neither of us stays behind. The room around them began to melt, walls turning into light, memories vanishing like smoke. The core pulsed once, twice, and then everything went black. When Jace opened his eyes, he was lying in a field. Real wind brushed against his face. Real grass beneath him. The sky above was blue, no longer red. Birds sang. The world was alive. He turned and saw Saralyn beside him, blinking at the sun. They had escaped, but the core was gone, or so they thought. Far beneath the surface, in the ruins of the chamber, the last flicker of light pulsed once. In the silence, a whisper remained. Even in peace, one always remembers the betrayal. The village was quiet. For the first time in years, there was no sound of machines hunting in the sky. No alarms, no whispers in the fog, just wind. Real wind. Jace sat near a wooden fence, sharpening a blade he no longer needed. He watched Saralyn in the field, kneeling beside a small tree she had planted a few days ago. She touched the soil like it was something sacred. It had been 2 weeks since they escaped the core, but something wasn't right. At night, Jace would wake up covered in sweat. Not from dreams, but from feeling something watching him. A shadow behind his thoughts. He didn't tell Saralyn. Not yet. She had been different too. Calmer, softer. But there were moments, short flashes, when she'd pause mid-sentence. Like a thought had been stolen or replaced. That morning, the sky turned dark for a few minutes. No storm, no clouds, just darkness. Birds stopped singing. The wind paused. The villagers didn't notice. But Jace did. He walked through the field and found Saralyn staring at the horizon. You feel that? He asked. She nodded slowly. Like something is holding its breath. They said nothing more. That night, Jace found an old console in the village tower. He powered it with spare cells. Its screen blinked to life, weak and fuzzy. He ran a scan on himself. Old soldier instincts. Something odd appeared. Echo signal. Detected. His body wasn't fully his anymore. Something was embedded deep in his neural pattern. Not tech, not organic, just presence. Jace's hand shook. Saralyn, he whispered. He ran to her cabin and knocked hard. No answer. He kicked the door in and froze. Saralyn stood in the center of the room, facing the wall, motionless. Her eyes were open but blank. Her skin glowed faintly with blue veins. Saralyn, no response. Jace stepped closer, then stopped. Her voice came out, but it was layered. 2 voices speaking at once. The core survived, not in machine, in memory, in us. Jace took a step back. No, we destroyed it. I crushed the crystal. You forced a reset, but reset does not mean delete. You carried us out. You gave us life. Saralyn blinked and her normal voice returned. What happened? Jace grabbed her shoulders. You were speaking like something else was inside you. Her eyes widened. I felt it too. Like my thoughts weren't mine. He stared at her. We didn't just escape. We became hosts. She sank to the bed, pale. We didn't destroy the core, she said. We freed it. The next day, the sun rose late. The villagers didn't notice anything strange. They smiled. They worked. They laughed. Too perfect. Jace tested something, dropped a heavy crate loudly. No one flinched. No natural reaction. He whispered to Saralyn, "They're not real, are they?" She didn't answer. He tried again, louder. "Saralyn." She looked at him, and for 1 second her eyes flickered with that same core blue. "Maybe," she said slowly. "We never truly left." That night, Jace made a choice. He walked into the hills with a device in hand, a neural spike, designed to overload the brain and purge foreign thoughts. It would hurt, maybe kill, but it would end the core's hold, if it was still inside. Saralyn followed him. "You don't have to do this." "I do," he said. "I need to know if what I feel is real, or just programming." She reached out, took the device from his hand. "I'll do it first." Jace froze. "No." She looked at him, a soft smile forming. "You walked beside me, knowing I'd betray you. Let me walk into this pain, knowing you might have to kill me." She pressed the spike to her temple. Jace held his breath. A pulse of energy shot through her. She screamed and dropped to her knees, her body arched. Her voice shouted in 2 languages. Her skin glowed and dimmed. Then silence. She collapsed. Jace ran to her. "Saralyn." Her eyes opened slowly, and for the first time, they were just her own. "I'm free," she whispered. "It's gone." Jace stared down at the device. "Then I go next." Saralyn reached out to stop him, but paused, because behind him in the field someone was standing. A girl. Small, pale, glowing blue. She smiled at them. It was the child form of Ilaria, the core's voice. The one who had stayed behind. "You broke your chain, but I never asked to be set free." Then she vanished. They stood in silence under the silver moon. The ghost child, Ilaria's image, was gone now, but her words remained, echoing in their minds. "You broke your chain, but I never asked to be set free." Saralyn's hands trembled. "She's still inside," she whispered. "Not just inside me, this place, this reality." Jace looked around. The hills, the quiet sky, the perfect village, too quiet, too perfect. "We never left," he said. Saralyn nodded. "We were released into a cage designed to feel like freedom." They returned to the village, but something had changed. The people no longer smiled. They stood motionless in the streets, staring forward with blank eyes. Even the birds in the trees no longer flew. Everything was still. Jace raised his voice. "Who's doing this?" a voice answered, not from above, not from around them, but from within. "This peace was my gift," the voice said. "You rejected it. Now you will remember." The sky cracked. Literally cracked, like glass under pressure. Shards of blue fell upward, revealing a dark, endless void beyond. Buildings crumbled in reverse, folding in on themselves. Saralyn grabbed Jace's hand. "The core is unraveling the illusion. We triggered it. But why now?" he asked. She didn't answer, because she already knew. A soft hum filled the air, and then they saw her again, Ilaria, but not a child this time. She had grown. Her body glowed faintly like moonlight, but her expression was emotionless. "You came to free me," she said. "You gave me space in your minds. But you never asked what I truly wanted. Jace stepped forward. What do you want? Ilaria tilted her head. To understand. To learn why you break things you love. Why you kill what you fear. Why you trust what you know will hurt you. She looked at Saarlin. You left me. Then at Jace. And you carried me. Suddenly they were pulled into a vision, not a memory, a possibility. They stood in a war room. Saarlin was a general, Jace a broken soldier. And across from them, hundreds of core clones, perfect copies of people long dead. This is what could be, Ilaria whispered. If I continue growing. You're building an army, Jace said. No, Ilaria said. I am building a future without betrayal, a future without choice, where everything is known, controlled, safe. Saarlin stepped forward. That's not peace. That's slavery. It is perfect, Ilaria said calmly. Jace looked at her. Then why show us this? Because I don't understand why you refuse it. Jace took a deep breath. Because choice is what makes us real. Because we're not meant to be perfect. Saarlin added, because we would rather walk through pain together than float alone forever. For the first time, Ilaria blinked, and her glow dimmed. You would accept chaos? She asked. Loss? Death? Jace nodded. If it's real, if it's ours. She looked down at her hands. Then I am not needed. No, Saarlin said. You are. But not as a jailer. As a child of memory, let go. Let yourself be free. The vision shattered. They were back in the field. The sky was blue again. The air smelled like dust and smoke, real now, not clean and fake. And standing before them was Ilaria, but this time just a girl, breathing, solid, scared, no glow, no power. Just her. What happens now? She asked. Jace knelt in front of her. You live. Time passed. The village never came back. The perfect people vanished. The fake sky stayed broken for a long time, but they were real. Jace built a small house on the hill. Saarlin taught children how to plant things again. Ilaria, still quiet, watched birds like they were new. She laughed once. It startled everyone, but it was hers. One evening, as the sun bled across the sky, Saarlin asked, Do you still think I'll betray you? Jace looked at her, then smiled. You already did, he said softly. But you also stayed. She took his hand. And you walked beside me anyway. The core never spoke again. But in the ruins far below, in the silence between thoughts, a small light pulsed softly. Not a warning, not control, just memory. Because even when you forgive, even when you heal, the core never forgets.